Okay, so in this short video, I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can use Replit.com, and I'm actually going to walk through the first exercise, the first assignment, the Hello World assignment from the course. So we'll be walking through this Hello World program using Replit. Now, you aren't required to use Replit. I do encourage you to use it though. You're free to use VS Code and then set up that ID. But Replit is a nice option because there's no setup. And like I mentioned, you can send me links to the files if you're troubleshooting, and it's basically free. So it's a nice alternative that you can do right from your browser, and it does a lot of the same things that you can do in Visual Studio Code. It's not to say using something like Visual Studio Code or JGrasp is not also good. I mean, it is, because they do provide you some understanding of how those IDEs work. But to keep things simple, since I want to focus mostly on teaching you the language, I'm going to encourage you to use Replit for the assignments. Okay, so first things first, we have our Hello World assignment. I'm just going to mention also that in this course, I provided updated instructions on how to submit assignments. So you have to turn in the Java file, and then you also need to turn in a screenshot showing the program that you've written working or running or executing. So those are both requirements. Unfortunately, I'm not able to update the text of the assignments inside of the course. That is kind of locked down. So as an instructor, I don't have the ability to change the wording in here. Okay, but just understand that when you turn in something, I will expect to see the Java files, which is your source code that we'll be writing in, as well as output of the program in order to receive full credit. Okay, that's again because a lot of times if you don't run the program, it may look right, but I want to make sure you actually understand how to make it work correctly so it actually runs and there aren't any errors. So here is the homepage for Replit.com. Again, it's free. You'll see if you're on the starter plan, it'll even give you up to 10 apps. So think of every one of our assignments that we're going to turn in as a separate application. So you can do up to 10 of them in here. And if you go more than that, then it's going to tell you need to upgrade. But what I would say is 10 should be more than enough. I'm glad that they increased it from 3. It used to be 3, which is really hard to use, but 10's a good number. You can just delete the older ones once they've been graded. But you're going to create an app for every single program that you're asked to create. Some of our assignments ask you to do one program. Some assignments ask you to do 2 programs. So in the cases where a specific assignment asks you to do 2 different programs, I would expect you to turn in 2 separate apps. Okay, so do not combine them into one. So there's a few that you'll see as we go through the course that are like that. Okay, so just pay attention to that. Those assignments are typically worth 200 points. Okay, so if there's 2 programs, it's going to be 200-point assignment. If there's 1 program, it's going to be a 100-point assignment. So that's how you'll know that you're dealing with 2 different programs versus 1. But as long as you stay with under 10, you are going to be able to use this tool, and it's really nice for starting out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through this assignment, the Hello World assignment here. All right, so we're asked to create Hello World and print that out along with our name like this. So that's the output of the program. Okay, so that's what we're going to be creating. Okay, and so just also as we go through this, I'll mention a few gotchas with Replit, so you don't run into problems, okay, with it. Okay, so first thing is we want to create a new app. So create app, and under templates, you should see one here that is Java. If you don't see it, you can just come in here to the search bar and type in Java. And there you go, just pick this first one, the top one says Java Replit. Select that, and we'll just call this one, give your app a name like Hello World. Or you can say assignment 1, assignment 2, however you want to do it. Just go ahead and give it a nice name for your application. And then leave the rest the same here. You can leave privacy, it has to stay public because we're using the free version. Go ahead and hit click create. Okay, so here is the IDE, the integrated development environment that we're going to use. It has a couple things that I'm going to point out here that you need to be aware of. One is it's got this AI assistant. Now I mentioned use of the AI assistant within the course. Please use it sparingly. Do not let it write the programs for you because again, a lot of times I can tell. And second thing, you're not really gaining anything out of it. So what I would encourage you to do is please just close that window down. Do not use the assignment. Do not use the assistant. And what you're going to see here is you're going to have your main window here, and it's going to have a Java file. Again, all source files that we write our instructions in are going to be text files, and they're going to have a .java extension, Java extension. Okay, so that's how Java knows that this is a Java file, and the Java runtime will know how to run the commands in this file. So it has to have a .java extension. So just make sure any source files. When I say source files, I'm talking about your instructions in this format, right? That is what's called source code. Okay. Second thing here is you're going to have this on the side, looks like a little folder. Open that up, and you'll see your files here. So every app that you create within Replit is going to give you your own little sandbox area to do your work. It's actually going to set everything up for you. And for the most part, you don't have to worry about touching anything in here. It'll just have the files that you want to have. It's going to name everything main.java, and it's going to name the class to match. Remember, your class name and the Java file name have to match. You should remember that from your readings. So it's all set up at this point. Now, what I would encourage you to do is, for the most part, you don't have to change any of these file names for right now. There's one or two assignments we're going to do later on that are going to have multiple files, but if you're using Replit, you're free to just start working on your program. Okay, now when you start a new Java program, it helps already because it's actually giving you really the hello world example that you're asked to create for the most part. So you got 99% there with this first assignment because it just assumes you're starting out, and hello world assignments or programs are usually what developers use when they first learn a new language. It's kind of a way to test out that you have the basics down and that you understand how to make it work and such, right? So hello world is always like the first. It's like the de facto standard when people start learning a new language. They try this first. So that's why hello world is the one we're doing. Okay. So if you were doing Java, if you were doing Python, you would probably do the same thing. You'd create a program called hello world, and you try to make sure you understand it. You got the Python program working as is. So that's why you'll see this used a lot. You can get rid of all this stuff here. Okay. And we're not using any tests. So unit tests or something we're not really going to cover too much in here, but so you can create your program like this. Okay, so now all the programs have to have a few things for them to work. They have to have a public class, and you can kind of see here, it gives you a little bit of what's called syntax highlighting. All right, so the blue that you see here is the IDE giving you a little bit of help, telling you, hey, this is a special keyword. Okay, so keywords or special words that the language understands are typically in blue or some other color, so they stand out. And then anything else that you see there that's not colored, it's just regular black text, those are typically things that we would typically change. Okay, so when you see blue, understand that is exactly what's expected, and it's got some knowledge and some expressions that it has to have a certain way. Okay, those are just special words that the Java language expects. Okay, so all Java programs are going to start with exactly what you see here. It's going to start with this first class with curly braces to represent that the instructions in that class. So everything within the class main, is the way you would say this, is contained within lines 2 through 7. Okay, and that's what this is here. And then every Java program is going to have an entry point that's going to be just exactly like you see it here. Public, static, void, main, string, square brackets, args, and then another curly brace to start and give you the instructions within that main method. Okay, again, all of this is things you should already be kind of a little bit familiar with because you're doing the readings and watching the other videos. Okay, so hopefully you're doing that first and not just using what I'm telling you here to start off, right? You should go back and make sure you understand what we're talking about. I'm not going to cover everything in detail. I'm just kind of showing you how to use this IDE to turn in your projects. Okay, so here is our instructions. Now, this is just going to print out hello world, but they asked us to print out hello world followed by our name. Okay, so we want to copy this here, and we are going to print out our name. And there's a couple ways you can do it. I'm going to do it using a second instruction. And I'm going to go ahead and paste in the text that we got from the instructions. And I'm going to put my name in here. And I'm also going to make sure I use a semicolon to stop that, to end that statement. All Java statements end with a semicolon. Okay, it's part of the syntax of the language. Again, things you already should be familiar with. Okay, so if you have that, then you should be able to go up here and go ahead and click the Run button. Okay, and if you click Run here, then it's going to open up the console. Now the first time through, it's going to download and set everything up. So there's a little bit of time here for this to set up everything in the cloud. Everything we're doing here is going to be done through a remote server. So when you set this up and run it the first time, it's got to install Java. And there you have it. So now I've got my output here. So the console window is where you see the output for your program. Okay, so you're going to write your programs over here. You're going to click Run, and you're going to see the output on the right-hand side. So what you do also is I'll cover how to submit this, but this is basically the first assignment. You have your code over here, and you've got your output over here. Okay. Other thing that'll happen here in this console window is if you have an error, like let's say I forget to have a semicolon, and I try to run it, you will see that I get my syntax errors over here as well. And these syntax errors will try to give you some context on what's going on. So if you look at this, because I missed a semicolon, the program's not able to compile and run. Okay, I have to fix this syntax error. Okay, syntax errors are one of the 3 different types of errors you can have in a program. There's runtime, logic, and syntax. Syntax are usually the easiest to fix because they'll tell you right now, they try to tell you point blank, hey, you have to fix this before the program will run. The other types of errors that we'll cover in the class are logic errors and runtime errors. Those are a little bit harder to debug, but in all cases, you're going to see error messages that, if there are any, show up in this console window. Okay, so if you get this error, that means that your program's not running. It actually didn't work correctly. Okay, so you have to fix it. And if you look at it, it'll try to give you some help. So here it's telling me, hey, look at this file, main.java, and go to look at line 6. And there's an error there. It's expecting a semicolon. And it even gives you a little symbol there saying where to put the semicolon. Sometimes this is pretty helpful. Other times it might be not as helpful, but it will try to give you some insight into what's going on. So if I see this, I'm just going to go over here to line 6 and realize, oh, okay, there's an error. And I can even see there's a little squiggly red line there telling me there's a problem there. So if I put a semicolon, the little red squiggly line goes away. And if I run it now, the program will produce the correct output. Okay. So if you want to, if you're troubleshooting, meaning you're trying to fix errors, you are going to use these 2 windows to try and run it and fix it as you go, and go through the language, go through what you're learning to eventually get it so the program runs or executes correctly and produces the output. Okay, so that's kind of the way that developers work. They code something, they go and they try to run it and see if it works. If not, they fix it and they try it again. It's this repetitive process you're going to go through as you go through the course. So the other thing that all the assignments need to have is they need to have proper documentation or comments. Okay, and comments are just ways for us to put additional wording in the files that are ignored by Java, but they're things that someone that's reading your code is going to be able to look at. All right, so they're ignored. Java will ignore any comments, but they are there for the readers of the program to be able to look at what's going on. So they're very important. When we talk about even a program as small as this, even this style program, you should have some basic comments. Now, if you go over to the how to submit your assignments, again, from the course, you'll see that I spell out exactly what you need to do. Okay, so first off is at the top of every file, you need to include a proper heading in your code. So you're going to take this entire block, all right, and then you're going to go back into your program here, and you're going to paste that block in. Now you'll notice that it shows up as a little bit grayed out. That's because this is all ignored. These slashes and these stars are ways that we have multi-line comments. So everything with first 4 lines, 1 through 5, are just there for us to put in some information that we're being asked for, and it's completely, the compiler is just going to ignore it and just skip past it. So comments are ignored by the compiler and they show up as grayed out text there. Here's where we're going to put the information for the assignment. You're going to put your name in here, and you're going to put the assignment title, which is assignment 1, hello world, and then you're going to describe what the program does. This program prints hello world followed by my name. Okay, so every program, you should have that at the very top of your program. Okay, you can simply cut and paste it. Now, the other types of comments that you're going to have are what are called inline comments. So inside the code that we use, so people can so we're describing what we're doing here. Okay, now something simple like this is pretty straightforward. Someone can look at this and realize, oh, I'm just printing out 2 strings. But the logic could get complicated in some of our bigger programs. And inline comments look like this. You're going to have // so 2 slashes, 2 forward slashes. And you can put a comment in here. This is where I print hello world. Okay. And again, just like the comments above, they show up as grayed out text and they're ignored by the compiler. This is where I print my name. Now you don't have to have an inline comment for every single line of code, but you should have a few of them spread out within your programs that you create. Okay, and I'll look for that when I'm going through the grading. Okay, so you have to have that when you turn in your assignment. All right, so right now this assignment is done and it's ready to be turned in. Okay, so it's got everything I need here. What I'm going to do is, first off, is I need I need to take a screenshot of the output. All right, so you're going to run it. Make sure it runs. Always make sure your program is run. Then what you do is you're going to use a tool. I'm using Snagit, but there are other tools out there. And you're simply going to capture the output of the program. Okay, and this is what my tool creates. So it created this. I'm using Snagit. You can use whatever tool you want to use. But there's my output. You can then copy that and paste it into a Word document or upload it directly. I don't really care either way. But paste it into a Word document and you're going to upload that file along with the Java file. Okay, very important you turn this in. Now, from when you're using Replit, The easiest way to do that is to go over into the file area and go over top of the file that you're going to turn in and hit the little down arrow and select download. Okay, and select download. And it'll download that file to your downloads folder. You can kind of see I already have it here, and so it's in my downloads folder. So that file. So there is your downloaded Java file. If you're using main as the starting point, which is what Replit creates for every program, you're probably going to have multiples of these files there. You can rename them when they come down to something more meaningful. But as long as when you turn in, it's the actual text or the assignment, source code for that assignment, I'm okay with it being named to main3, whatever. That's fine. If you want to rename it to something else, you can use the tools within your OS to rename it to something different. Just make sure it has a .java extension at the end of it. Okay? And that's what you're going to turn in. You're going to turn in that screenshot, and you're going to turn in the downloaded main.java file. Okay? And that's how you turn in. Last topic I'll talk about is if you want to, let's say you have a bug in your program and you're not really sure how to fix it. So I got rid of that semicolon and I'm gonna run it. And let's say you have a bug and you want me to help you troubleshoot the program. What's nice about Replit is that if you just send me this link, if you copy this entire link, okay, it has your name in it, the name of the app that you're working in, the source file, all including the name of the source code file. If you copy that and send that to me in an inbox message, I can go right into your program and I can see the error and try to help you debug it. So for troubleshooting and debugging purposes, if you're running into issues running the program, simply just grab the entire URL here, make sure you have the file open that you're asking questions about, and make sure that that's active. And then if you just select it, copy, paste into an inbox message, send it to me, I'll be able to click on that link, get right into your program, which is really nice with Replit, is being able to do that. Otherwise, if you're running it through VS Code, then we got to go a different route. You actually have to send me your source file and have to debug it that way. But if you're using Replit, this is a very convenient way to troubleshoot. Okay, and that's it. All right, so every program you're going to follow the same approach. Create an app, just change the text in main.java to match whatever the program is you're asked to create. Make sure it works, run it, get the output, take a screenshot, put your comments in, download the file, upload the file to the assignment along with the instructions, the screenshot, and then I can grade it, okay? If it doesn't have a screenshot, then I can't give you full credit. I need to see a program running. If you turn in like this, you're not going to get full credit, right? This program does not run because I have an error in it. So do not turn in screenshots of programs that have errors because you will only get partial credit for those. Okay? If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. And we'll go from there. Thanks. Have a great rest of your day.